Good afternoon. All right. So everybody ready to learn about BYOD, right? We're going to cover a lot of information really quickly, okay? If you do have a question along the way, I deal with students and teachers all the time. I'm actually a Technology Curriculum Coordinator for Athens City Schools. My name is Anthony Smith. If you do have a question, please stop me along the way. I'll be glad to address those questions. We're going to cover several problems that we ran into at Athens City with a bring your own device environment. I'm also going to show you some of the things that we overcome by going to different schools across the state. I'm going to show you some different things that we actually were able to deploy to fix some solutions. I'm actually going to walk through a real installation of the product that we use. I'm going to give you this real quick. Meraki.com. That's spelled MERAKI.com. If you've got a piece of paper handy, write that down. Meraki.com, MERAKI.com. Okay? So let's talk about our problems. One of the first problems we ran into is there were tons of devices. There were iPads, there were iPhones, there was iPod Touches, there was Androids, there was Galaxy Tabs, there was Windows machines, Windows 7 and Windows 8. There was Mac products such as OS 10, okay? So we needed something that managed all those. And all the solutions that we were looking at would only manage mobile devices. That's what you see when you get an MDM, a mobile device management. That's what that acronym stands for. There's also tons of apps out there. There's millions of apps. There's apps on Android that you won't find on iOS. There's apps on iOS that you won't find on Android. There's ways of installing different apps like Java on Windows devices. So we needed something to handle all that. How to manage those problems? We had devices and applications. That was our first issue. Our second issue was profiles and users, such as teachers and students. Wireless infrastructure, security, app licensing, and then also theft. That never happens, right? All right. We already talked about all these different tech devices, the iOS devices, the Androids, the Windows, the OS devices. Let's talk about users and profiles. One of the things that we had to really hash out was the actual users. When you go into a normal school environment, you had the administration, you had the teachers, and then you had the students, okay? We had to go deeper than that. We had to go and say, students, you have pre-K, you have kindergarten, you have first grade, you have second grade, all the way up to 8th grade in our school system. An 8th grader is going to use different apps that a kindergartner is going to use, right? So we needed a way to manage that. We also needed a way to get people online that really didn't need app integration. So we just created a profile for wireless internet. All right. Okay, so there's this guy. He's probably wandering around your school, and he sometimes hides from you. He has a secret passcode. And that secret passcode sometimes lets you online, right? Well, I'm that guy. I'm the technology guy who you would come to and say, I need to get that secret passcode. We needed a way to deploy that without giving it away. And we needed a solution for that. So we created two different networks. We created a guest network, which is kind of like a coffee shop. Anybody ever went to a coffee shop and need to get online? You click on a user agreement. That user agreement in our school redirects you to our student, our teacher, and our mobile access page. Whenever you click on student, guess what? You get your grade level. Oh, I'm in 4th grade this year, and I brought my new iPad from home that I got for Christmas. It installs all the apps along with all the security profiles along with it without me having to touch it. Bring your own device, right? Also, that gave them access to the internal infrastructure, the Athens infrastructure. App licensing. So everybody heard of the volume purchase program from Apple? If you haven't, you need to know what that is. Because instead of you spending $20 or $10 on an app, you go to the AVP store and you basically have those at a discounted price if you purchase different volumes. My first transaction was buying Pages, which is like Word for the iPad. I wanted to buy 5 of them. I could have bought 20 off the AVP store versus those 5, and it was the same cost. You turn around and say, hey, teacher next door, I got to buy these. You might need them someday. And guess what? Split that pricing up. Okay, we have internal apps that we develop. We use SuccessMaker. Anybody use SuccessMaker from Pearson? We actually host it internally, so we needed a way for students to have links to those internally hosted apps. We also needed a way to give them external links, such as webmail and different sites that they may go to regularly. Needed a way to do that and manage that. Who in here has had their iPhone or their iPad stolen? Oh wow, y'all are lucky. We've had like one in every group. So when Apple introduced their process for this, they make you download an app. I lost my iPhone. Find it for me. Find my iPhone, actually. But with the Meraki configuration profile, we were able to configure a way to track those devices via GPS with a wireless signal. Your battery does have to be charged. Okay? I can, within that system, wipe that device. I can lock that device. I can unlock it. I can also send a message to it. I can make it beep, 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 and go crazy. I can also, within that, if I needed to, do other things to manage the device when it comes. Huh? It really is, especially if you have one that, you know, there's some other things such as geofencing that you could actually introduce, but that's kind of going a higher level than what we actually wanted to. What that means is if you had a device walk out of your school, it would send an alarm. Okay? Just kind of locating it. So those things we had to overcome. All right, Meraki.com. Remember me saying earlier we configured profiles. When we went on Meraki.com with the system manager, we wanted teachers to have a profile. We wanted the students to have a profile, but within that we wanted grade levels. And any time that teacher or that student needed to install that, they click on their user profile. We use a web page. You could actually deploy it using SMS. Everybody know what SMS is, like text messaging. You could deploy it using a QR code. You can deploy it using a simple web link. And you can also deploy it just through regular hyperlinks. Let me go to this real quickly. My information's over here. That is my real cell phone number. If you do need to contact me with questions about this presentation today, feel free to contact me. I don't give my cell phone out lightly. But please, if you've got questions, guys, feel free to call me, to email me. I'll be glad to address them. You guys want to see how quick it is to install one of these? Okay. So we've already configured this profile. This is our summer teacher profile. It's actually apps that we've been reviewing for the next year to come. Okay? So we're going to open up Safari. Let me just go back here to our web page. And I'm actually on this little device right here. That's our Athens City Schools web page. That's the same page they redirect on when they hit the guest network. So they can hit Google, and that just simply takes them online. Well, if they go down here and hit download teacher profile for iPad, what that's going to do is start going across right there. When we actually get the Meraki screen and come up here, it's going to install a profile. That profile, they'll click on install. There's a code that generates with it that links it up to our system. Everybody that sets up a profile, there we go, register. Everyone that sets up a profile actually gets a unique ID. This is our system ID that was just on the screen. This is actually going to download the installation file next. It's coming across just a little slow. Mr. Verizon's being just a tad slow this afternoon. Okay, so we click install. Install again. And when it actually does that, within that whole installation right there, it installs the security portion of it and also the wireless infrastructure portion of it. If I were to go into wireless, I would actually see a new network on there to where I walk back into Athens City Schools. it would actually pick up on that new wireless signal that it did not have before. All right, check this out. App installation. Click on install. I get my regular Apple ID entry, so I'm going to enter that. Okay, and I'm just going to back out real quick. There's another one. If we wanted to create a new app to deploy, we could actually go right into the Meraki website, log into our configuration, go into Add iOS App, and keep in mind on there, we add those tags to those apps. First grade, second grade, third grades, teacher. Some of these icons may look familiar, like Dropbox, Educreation. There's actually one in here we've been playing with that has a loud meter. So it sends out an alarm on the iPad when your class gets too loud. Okay? Somebody wanted to install Angry Birds earlier. You know, lower grade levels, you may have some reward time. It may be something they want to play.